Howdy folks, got a book review for you today. It's done by A.K. It's all about techniques on doing aircraft. I recommend this book for beginners especially, people that are intermediate maybe, and professionals possibly. It tells you everything you need to know about doing aircraft, from weathering, how you use your tools properly, and so forth. We'll take a look and we'll go through it. And there's some stuff in there that I knew how to do, but they've got a different perspective on it. And yeah, it's so good. It's a really good book. It's a softback book. It's not all just about AK. They obviously push their products as much as possible, but they do talk about other manufacturers, which is nice. You just get some basic information on about history of aircraft and stuff. Your index page, you get some colour photographs, black and white photographs, sorry. This is all, and you go into your first, basically like step, how to use sprue cutters properly. Your second step is how to use glues, especially Tamiya glue. That's what they're mainly talking about on this one, but you've got how to use your glues properly. Second step is telling you how to use putties and fillers and sorting out seam lines and stuff. Most of us will know most of this, but there's some stuff in here that I would like to learn. Like this is one of them. Is learning how to use a rivet tool. This is teaching you how to use a rivet tool. This is one of the things I want to learn. Using a pin vise and rescribing panel lines. That's another thing I want to learn. Another technique I would want to learn as well is aging your skin effect on your aircraft. What they call it, stress skin effect. That's another thing I would like to learn. This is to do with ailerons and flaps. Making them stressed as well, and adding fine detail parts like the wire and things. Another step is working with Photo-Etch, how to do Photo-Etch properly. This is another good tip. I already know most of this one anyway. Working with resin products. Bear in mind, resin dust is toxic, so you want to use a respirator or mask. Working with wire, so detailing up your engine and stuff. This side is using Tamiya's buffing compound, so if you have defects or scratches or whatever on your canopies, so you can sort them out. Again, it's working with your buffing compound. So like here, you see this canopy here, it's all got a nasty deformation scratch, and then once it's all buffed and compound out, it could end up looking like that if it's not too bad. Using a buffing wheel as well. It's a 1200 grit paper. You would have thought would have made it worse, but obviously clearly not. And then they're asking to use a buffing stick if you have one of those. Using the buffing compound by Tamiya. Then using a wheel and then a soft cloth afterwards. So it should work. Scratch building canopies. So that's another step. This is a little bit more advanced, I reckon now. But you're still going to need some form of vacuum forming, so I'm not quite sure but according to this you can use a heat gun probably. Yeah. This is another technique. I've got vacuum forming canopies on some of my kits, so this is another thing I want to learn, is how to cut them out properly without screwing it up. And masking them off as well. Working with lights on your aircraft, which is another touch to work, is a nice touch. Some of them could be really, really bad and cloudy, and this is teaching you how to kind of making your own and or sorting them out. Using clear sprue and mounting it and then sticking it in its place and then sanding it down and making lights. This one's the actual what's it? The light cover. Doing more lights. Making wire out of sprue by melting it and putting it apart. I know this technique, but this is a nice touch. If you don't want to use plastic sprue, you how to use cotton and wire and easy line, probably that may be. This is another technique I want to learn. Excuse me. Is rigging for aircraft using wire and making little crimps and turnbuckle things. This is basically kind of scratch building. This is another technique I would want to learn to really make your aircraft look really, really good. They are using 0.2mm wire, so whatever wire you got at 200mm, it's going to be probably most standard for. Does it say what size aircraft that's for? It doesn't say what size kit that's for. But again, it's more rigging. Yeah, I mean, if you can do it and put it off, it looks so good. It looks so realistic. It looks scary how good it looks. This is working with other products. Wire again, working with other tools. Evergreen, plastic or sprue stuff. So this side is making your own custom bulkheads. And working with paint products and primers. Yeah, different paints, acrylics, enamels, oil-based paints, so forth. This is making metal look like it's heat worn kind of thing. This is working with metal finishes and buffing them out, make them shiny. Some natural metal finishes. This is waxes and stuff as well. Clear coats, thinners, cleaning out your airbrushes, how to use your airbrush properly, PSIs and so forth. Talk about hand painting brushes. This section is to do with using spray cans, how to use a spray can properly. This side is to do with panels, individual panels, making them weathered and worn. So like this one, for instance, this desert one, you do your base coat colour and a darker brown colour and then a different lighter shade of sand, and then this one. So once you finish it, it looks like that with you done all the different colour panels, and then you go back over with your top coat and then it's panel shading. That looks so good. Shading by lines, pre-shading as they call it, I believe. This one is doing individual panels again. Panel with tight tape, so masking off individual panels and changing the colour. Working with camouflage, so that's what I was talking about on the aircraft that I was on my Sterling. I was talking about was airbrushed by freehand. That's what I did on my Sterling. So this is freehand spraying. This side is about mask, using masking tape, new camouflage. It's another technique I want to learn, doing mottling and those squiggly line camouflage. So I want to learn both of this. This is another technique I want to learn because I've got German aircraft. I do have stencils, but this is teaching you how to do it without a stencil. Panel light shading. So yeah, so this is doing your basic colour and then lighting up the panels so it looks like it's like, I'm going to say faded with the sun, I suppose. That's a good technique I would like to learn as well. How to use Deco solutions properly, and this is another step I would like to learn down the bottom here, is once you've done your decals and once you dry and stuff, is going back over and getting the rivets to appear. Because I'll get as far as this and get as far as that, and then I'd leave it, let it dry, and that's it. And then the stars would be like nice and clean. I wouldn't have thought about going back over it and making the rivets show. So I'm probably going to do that in future afterwards, down the bottom. Move the camera slightly. What we got here? We have panel washers, panel line washers. Streaking panel line with washers for inside your cockpit. I know how to do this. Do the washers for the inside of the cockpit already, and on your engine and stuff. I already know that technique. We have got flaps. This side is fuel lines. This is to do with oil stains and fuel stains technique. And now it's going on to rust techniques on aircraft, but you still can apply this to tanks as well. You've got chipping and scratches. I know how to kind of do this, which is on the next page, which is to do with sponge, but this is teaching you how to use pencils and so forth. Rust scratches with rust streaks. And this is another technique, doing scratches but using liquid mask. I've heard about this, but I never actually tried it. This is a technique I knew about, using sponge for scratches. Chipping and hand spray. So this is making the panels faded again. This is to do with more chipping techniques, scratches. So they're saying spray the aircraft with dark primer first, then your silver, and then your base colour on top, and then when you scratch underneath it, oh, use base silver, then liquid mask, base colour, then wipe it off, and you leave the silver underneath, which looks like the metal of the aircraft. Makes sense to do it that way instead of smoke stains. This is another technique I kind of know how to do, but I want to improve on it, make it much better. This is more smoke stains. This is using smoke stains with sticks and pigments. See, I don't know how to do it with pigments. I know how to do it with paint and airbrushing. I know this one. I don't know, I'm quite sure how to do it with pigments. I haven't tried it with pigments yet. Dry and streaks, in other words rain streaks and dust effects and etc. on this page. And then this is the rain streaks and dust streaks and so forth. Weathering your wheels, making them dusty and dirty. Kind of know how to do that. This makes sense as well. And there's another part on here is before you even committed doing it on your aircraft, if you've got styrene card, if anyone doesn't know what styrene card is, it's this card that they use for poster board. I haven't got none lying around on hand. No, I haven't got none lying around. But it's poster board or styrene board that they print on to make giant posters, but they use that to test on before committing to your aircraft, because it acts like the aircraft. Don't use paper or card or anything like that, because the properties are different, because it can soak in. This is how to doing splattered marks by using airbrush or paintbrush. Using paintbrush and a cocktail stick, and you flick it. So see this, and you get your paintbrush. They're saying like do this, and it flicks the paint. Or the airbrush technique is basically get your airbrush as normal and just spray through the paint. Sorry, but guys, not the camera. This technique, which is pretty cool. Interior, working with your cockpit. World War II British seats. How to make them look really good. All its techniques and steps. Japanese seats for Japanese aircraft. US jets cockpits area. US jets again, jet age, so this is a little bit more modern. Probably looks like a Tomcat seat. This is resin as well, and scratch building your hoops, your ejection hoops, not wire. These are World War II instrument panels, but this is working with resin. That's a German. This is standard. That's the British German cockpit. You got English cockpit, American cockpit, and cockpits. So Japanese cockpits, jet age cockpits, jet age again cockpits, and doing wiring at the back. Probably won't see it, but people do go all out. US cockpit, World War II. This is working with plastic and detailing it up a bit more with a little bit of wire here and there. British cockpit, so this is a Spitfire. Japanese cockpits, German cockpit, which is B109 or BF109 and the Focke-Wulf cockpits, pretty much kind of similar. This is a jet age cockpit, looks like resin as well. Yep, continue with the jet age. And once you've done it all, it can potentially look like that, and that looks amazing. Russian cockpit, jet age. British pilots, World War II, so this is working with your figures now. This looks so good, they look amazing, that looks so good. What scale is that? 132 scale, that's 1/32 scale. German pilots at 1/32 scale. Japanese pilot at 1/32 scale. US pilots, pilot, 1/32 scale, a P40. Jet age, aircraft pilots, 1/32 scale. US probably. Modifying your aircraft crew, so get your basic crew members, and then you can teach them how to slightly modify their arms and legs. That's a good technique, but this is using milliput. I've heard about milliput as a sculpting material, but this is way advanced, out of my realm. Something I'm going to have to really learn on if I want to do something like that. Working with interiors on passenger. It does look amazing. The only downfall is that unless you're going to show it like that, it's fine. But you've got these stupid little windows which the aircraft have, and you ain't going to see none of this. You do all this nice work and you don't see it. Now this is another technique I really want to learn. It's making wooden propellers look like wood when they're not wood, if you know what I mean. So there's plastic propellers look like wood, and they look amazing. This is First World War. This is the standard Ally ones, be British and American probably. This is the German propellers. So basic plastic, masking it off with its pattern, spraying down a darker base, and then using waxes. So he's asking for base colour of FX19 Tamiya and FX9. So FX19, do I have FX19? I do, which is FX19, which is grey, and FX9 is this one here, dark brown. But that's like a yellow colour, that ain't right. I can't see it being these two, that's not right. I think they messed up somewhere. That should be a different colour, that ain't grey. Anyway, that's 1/32 scale, but it can apply to all others. More propellers. Really want to learn this because the aircraft looks so good. British propellers. Now your spinners for German aircraft, nose cones. if they've got things on them, so it's chipping and weathering as well. That looks so good as well. I kind of know how to do this on the propellers, which I use the sponge technique, but they're saying spray it silver and then you German dark green grey colour, and then using your X-Acto knife and scratching it off. Obviously you want to be careful, you don't go too deep because you go back down to the plastic. More nose cones, British nose cones now, weathering them up. Looks like for Spitfire and Hurricanes probably and stuff. Spitfire Mark 5B, yeah, Tamiya 148 scale that is. And the propeller for it. This is using weathering pencils. US nose cones for P40 132 scale by Hasegawa. This is this one, but the techniques can apply for any kit technically. And this is the propeller for it, using oils, and stuff. Japanese propeller for J2M3 132 scale Hasegawa. Not quite sure what aircraft that is, but again, there's plastic, doing those stripes, and then doing your base colour brown, and then doing chipping with weathering pencils again. Wheels, resin wheels, weathering them up. US aircraft P40, this is 132 scale. Oh, excuse me, doesn't say what kit. Wheels and back rims, so this looks like German aircraft. Yep, 132 scale BF109 G6 that is, but the technique can apply to all. Jet wheels, undercarriage and landing gear for jets. We have got more landing gear, undercarriage flaps and doors, scratch building and wiring up your landing gear bays and wheels and stuff. So that looks so good when it's all done. Bombs, US bombs from Cold War, US World War II bombs, 132 scale, but again you can apply it to any size kit. I wouldn't want to try and do them on a 1/72, them thin lines. There you go. This is using oils again, dusting them all up. Missiles, more missiles. Drop tanks, fuel tanks. This is doing fuel stains. I want to kind of learn this a little bit. This is using oils again. Guns and cannons. So it looks like it's heat stains, or whatever you call it. Your weapon rails, which houses your missiles and stuff and bombs. So it's the rails that go to the bottom of the aircraft. Hard points, I think they call them. Exhaust and more exhaust, so both sides. Working with jet nozzles, weathering them up, so again it looks like it's worn with the heat. Walkways, that's a simple to do. I know how to do that. And then scratching them up. Masking off more walkways on the bottom and the top aircraft. Funny looking jet that is though. I wanted to learn how to do this because I use a lot of pre-cut masks, but there's some aircraft that you can't get pre-cut masks for, so you're going to have to do it yourself. So they're saying mask it off and using a point pen to go around the edge of the frame, and then use a X-Acto knife. This one is another technique, is you making your own custom stencils for lettering. So that's a nice technique I'd want to learn, because there's aircraft out there that you can't get decals for, so you want to replicate them, so you have to do it yourself. This is again doing roundels and country markings with tape and masking them off. Again, there's probably kits out there, but you can't get the decals for that kit, so you want to replicate it. So for instance, say there is a there is a German aircraft, BF-109, Spanish one already out there, but if there wasn't, this is teaching you how to do that. Masking off for German crosses. Working with plastic and resin engines and detailing them up. They look amazing. Looks so good. This is for World War I aircraft. Probably looks like a wingnut wings kit, because they're superb and they're detailing there second to none. If you want a top-notch World War I kit, wingnut wings is the way to go, but it's super expensive, but it's the best you're going to get. Piston engines or radial engines. Japanese engines, weathering them up. 132 scale. Most of them are going to be 132 scale in this book, because they're bigger and easier to work with, but the technique's going to apply same way. Same engines, and Japanese engines again, and the engine cowling looks like what goes over a Mitsubishi Zero. Stop and think then. Chipping them up, weathering all the cowling. US radial engines for P-47D Thunderbolt, 132 scale, by Trumpeter. Now camouflage. This is another technique I want to learn, because I want to get some World War I aircraft. This is because the aircraft is primarily made of wood and fabric, so your paint techniques completely have to change. So this is, excuse me, sorry about that guys. I apologise about that guys, being called. Anyway, this is pre-shading lines and painting over top, and using weathering pencils to make the lines look like fabric. That's a really good technique to learn. Right, this is another thing, using styrene card to test before committing to your aircraft, making plastic look like wood. This is a super technique I really want to learn, because this can apply to not just aircraft, but just making plastic look like wood in general. Right, I will be back in a minute. I have to pause this video. This is more cockpit techniques and making plastic look like wood again still. I really want to learn these techniques because it looks so good. Masking off World War I. I don't know what pattern you call that, but looks like honeycomb type pattern. I might as well describe it. Super looks so good, but a lot of work. Taping off lines, doing half and half on World War II fighter British aircraft. Your black and your sky grey colour for Mark 1 Spitfire. Battle Britain markings. Masking off and doing custom stencils again, which is the KLN. chipping all the way through, start to finish, that is. That's a Tamiya kit 148. Day fighter markings, again doing that silver scratch technique, doing the aircraft and getting all ready, and then spraying the areas that you're going to have scratched up silver, liquid mask, painting over the top of your camouflage and brushing it off with a sponge. It reveals all the scratch marks. I might try this way, because normally I use a sponge to do the scratches, but this time I might use liquid mask and try it. Custom stencils again, using your washes. 132 scale Hasegawa P40, going from start to finish. Scratches with weathering pencils. The aircraft looks so good when it's done. It looks amazing. Looks so good. US Naval aircraft. I've got one of these as well. See, it looks so good. Japanese aircraft. I've got one of these as well, but a 148 by Tamiya, not a 132 Hasegawa one, that is. But I've got a one. I want to do this, to do my aircraft like this, all mashed up and scratched. But and that's doing painting on the circles as well, without using decals. So this bit it goes up to here, and I'm not quite sure how you make it go from that to that. Add in mask, yellow tape for the yellow stripes, I know to do that, and then rest is chip in, so fair, have a colour. Okay, yeah, so doing your chipping and then lightly going over the top with the green, so it kind of shows through. And then what is this yellow stuff they're using? Oh, yellow oils to go on top as well, and blending it in. Doing silver aircraft, Japanese silver airplanes. That's from start to finish with custom markings. Desert 109, start to finish, even with the crosses. BF 109, sorry, Fuck a Wolf 190, sorry. From start to finish, custom markings. Looks so good when you learn all those techniques and put them together. A BF 109 G6 132 scale night fighter, German, from start to finish. Jet aircraft, start to finish. US Naval aircraft, jet, start to finish. Looks so good. Looks really good. There's that funny looking aircraft, start to finish. A Soviet MiG jet. Is that MiG? Yeah, MiG 21, 132 scale. Egyptian Air Force. No, Russian. It's Russian aircraft, but Egyptian markings. using pastels for weathering. I need to get some of these. Doing the exhaust tips. Another MiG 21. Edwards 148. I've got one of these, but I haven't got these markings, but I've got that kit. Using oils. I'm going backwards with the airflow and it causes streaks effect. Your exhaust part, shading, burnt areas. On especially like the back of Fantas and stuff. This bit all going to be grimed up and burnt from the exhaust. Checkerboard, doing it from scratch. That's another thing I want to try and do. Checkerboard on your tail fins, D-Day stripes or evasion stripes or whatever you want to call them. I know how to do this. But they do theirs white and then black. Strangely enough, did mine when I do mine, I strangely do mine the other way. I do the black first and then white on top. But I don't know. Oils, and for panel washes. Landing softer parts for your flaps. Custom and shark mouths. So painting them on. It looks so good when it's painted on instead of decals. But again, it's a lot of work, but it's a good skill to learn and know custom markings as well. Another custom shark mouth. Because if you want to try and do decals, it may be complicated to get it to sit round. Goes on to making diorama aircraft decks. This is US aircraft carrier from the 50s and the 60s. So you could do it round, square, whatever you wish. I need to get some of these which are hooks. They're on the deck but you tie your aircraft down. So, and these strips look like, what are they asking for? DM and wooden sticks. Where I work, we sell these cocktail stirrers. They're made of wood and they're ideal for perfect lengths. Tedious work, but it looks so good when it's done. Marking off your marks on the deck. Using weathering pencils, scratching in tyre lines. Edward pre-done bases for the metal strips. A desert diorama base, quite simple to do. There's another technique. I know how to do concrete pads, but I was using that poster board and cutting squares up, paint on top of it, weathering and so forth. But this one they're asking to use 500 grit sandpaper, wet, 500 grade wet sandpaper, cutting out the squares, sticking them down on your board, and then painting on top of it. But I never thought of doing sandpaper. But when thinking about it, that fine grade of grit is going to look like concrete and tarmac, etc. I didn't actually think about, now looking at this, thinking, yeah, of course it is. It's going to make sense. It really does. That's really going to look like concrete and tarmac, or asphalt, or wherever you are in the world. Working on little tractors that tow aircraft around. Now this is the photo gallery of once you've learned all the techniques, your aircraft can potentially look like this. This is a P-51D Mustang, looks amazing. A4E Skyhawk. We have the TBM1 Avenger. B25J Mitchell. B26 Raider, no, not Raider, I don't know how you say that, is it Marauder? Marauder? BF109 E4, BF109 G6, HE129 AO UH, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it's a German night reconnaissance aircraft, I think, of some sort. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that. A BF109 G10. I believe the G10 is the last of the 109s. Like, I think Spitfire Mark 22 or 24, whatever it is. I think is like the last of the Spitfire. I think the G10 is the last of the 109s. I can't pronounce that word again. It's a 109 but a Spanish version, licensed one. I can't pronounce that neither. It's the F7U Cross. I'm not sure. T1 trainer aircraft. F4D Phantom 2. That's amazing. It's so good. F4J Phantom 2. Again, naval one is, and that's, well, they're going to be both naval, but the greyish white one, again, just so good. I wish my aircraft could look as good as that. I really do. FA-18 Hornet, Spanish one. B6N torpedo thing for Japanese. So they use them to attack Pearl Harbor with. F-84G F100 Super Saab. F105 FW190 A6 R11 Spitfire Mark 9. I'm not quite sure. I don't know Romeo numerals. IXC, is it 9? I believe that's a 9. I16. I built one of those. But I did do mine. Did do a Spanish one. I did the Russian one. Spanish HEad 123 A1. MiG-21. Egyptian one. The P-39 Air Cobra. I have one of those kits. I have Edward ones. The P-40 Kitty Hawk. P-51D Beam Mustang. Essentially a Heinkel, but a Spanish one. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. P-51B Mustang. That looks so good as well. I do like aircraft with the shark mouth. They do look good. There's a Japanese aircraft, J2M, SB2, Portugal, I believe that might be, or Belgium, I'm not quite sure. They got a bomber, that looks good as well. Spitfire Mark 1, that's Tamiya's kit, I believe. Spitfire Mark 5B, JU-87G Stuka, F-14 Tomcat, that looks so good as well, the red. Don't ask me how to pronounce that, but a W-29, German World War I aircraft. It's got floats on it, so it'll land on the water. A Mosquito Mark II. I'm not sure who that's done by, but that looks amazing as well. No, it's just a little bit of advertisement. And there you go, guys. That's the book about all techniques on working on aircraft by AK. It's the F.A.Q aircraft scale modelling. Yeah, the book's a little bit expensive. I paid nearly £50 to £60 for this book, but I highly recommend this book for learning all techniques. Aiders, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you soon.